In this next section, we hear that it's no longer about the show launch and following a predefined recipe, but knowing who your audience is and how to adapt to them. Angela Corton at Fox tells us that it's all about knowing the system. If you know who the audience is and understand what they're consuming, you're going to be able to serve them the right content at the right time. And if they leave, you're able to figure out how to bring them back. The key here is learning from the audience and providing what they're asking for.
I love watching other marketers take advantage of time periods that look like they are really nailing it, but you also know behind the scenes what's happening. Like, how do you use paid media to create the spark? The video views start to really ratchet up, and all of a sudden it's a sensation, and so you kind of know the tricks, and you do a little wink and a nod to your colleagues who may never see the wink or a nod, but you're like, nice job, and then you've got to answer to why your videos aren't doing as well, and it's like, well, I can solve that. It's gaming the system. It is actually knowing the system, it's knowing the audiences, and it's knowing how to get out there, and what is the buzz that's going to create that word of mouth that, again, it just takes over for you. And I think that's the secret sauce, is how do you create that early enough and sustain it long enough to have a hit. Our world is changing. It is no longer just about launch, even though there's a cacophony of noise around September, but it's how do you sustain and find and drive that hit. And if you've got the patience, both at the top and through the ranks, you can really build a hit. We partner with CMO Media. It's like we can also see who's consuming, where they go around the net, and be able to then serve them content if they go away for 2 weeks. We can know that now, and we can figure out how to bring them back with great storytelling and great beats that we can, pulse out over a period of time rather than just at launch.
From every mistake, there's a very valuable learning, especially on the data side, because we can literally see if something didn't work, we can dig down into it and kind of understand, at least in the linear space, why didn't it work? Did you hit the wrong audience? Was there somebody else out there that was an opportunity? Which now we can work very closely and on a real-time basis with our partners so that we can make those tweaks and those changes. I look at mistakes as opportunities.
One of the things that we wanted to do is, and where we learned and where we probably weren't doing things exactly how we should have, we started to look at one of our franchises, which many of you are familiar with, E's Live from the Red Carpet, which has been a hugely successful franchise for us. We're in the industry and we do it probably better than most in terms of the red carpet coverage. But we've been doing this for a lot of years and a long period of time. And so what we wanted to make sure we were doing, we were continuing to market it kind of the same way each year, expecting the same result. What we know as we started to think about changing this playbook, it's not about doing the same with the same thing anymore in marketing. We have to do and approach things differently with different tools in our arsenal. So we did a big research study that basically said our audience and our consumer and the landscape of media has changed so much. They're expecting something different from show content. It's the upgrade. There's so much used to upgrade in technology and content that they wanted to be able to experience this live event, and we love live events in television, but across all platforms. Your cell phone's no longer your second screen, it's that companion piece. So what we learned is they were expecting us to provide more content to complement and amplify that live experience. So what we did is we started to think about how we were producing content again, this creation of content differently. We partnered with Snapchat and we took Live from the Red Carpet looks and broke them down immediately in real time for consumers. We started this with the Academy Awards and had over 3.5 million views just in that show. And then we said, how about we bring content creators into our fold? Why don't we reach out to this young millennial audience? So we reached out to the Betches and Girls with No Jobs and a lot of other mainstream personalities that were blogging and asked them to create content on our behalf about this red carpet experience, and then we distributed that across all platforms. So the key learning was we weren't doing it as best as we could have in that particular moment. We needed to learn from the audience and actually be providing what they were asking us for. So that was good learning where we hadn't figured it out, and then we had some good success once we started implementing that.
There's so much focus, and appropriately so, sort of on how to take advantage and program for and create content for new platforms. And that is sort of a critical thing, which I think we as marketers are always thinking about. The traditional tools, it's not that they don't still work, but you have to be smart about it, right? Or you have to be a little bit unexpected, because otherwise it washes over people. So we had this big, you may have heard of thing around whether Jon Snow was dead or alive. It was really interesting because we were 6 months out. We knew we had a ways to go. There was a lot of, chat about it, but we were out of our traditional window, other than, sort of fan communities and all of that kind of stuff. We were out of the traditional window of advertising, but we happened to create in our sort of early exploration this really beautiful piece of key art of Jon. And so we sort of talked about, like, does it make sense? And the more we talked about it, the more we got excited about it. And we just put it up without any fanfare, and we, sent it out digitally, created a lot of buzz, and it did what we wanted to, which was sort of seize on a conversation that was happening on its own. But it was a really simple, asset, and then it really was just key art. I think a good piece of creative is always, the foundation of a campaign.